Welcome. You may be asking yourself, I'm in the class, now what? My name's Michelle Murphy and I'm your instructor for this course. I've been teaching for Lake Region State College for over 20 years, starting with courses at Grand Forks Air Force Base and then transitioning to online. My husband and I are Air Force veterans. We met when we were both stationed at Minot Air Force Base. He's now retired from the military and works government service at Scott Air Force Base. I travel back and forth between locations, living in both southern Illinois and in Grand Forks, North Dakota, depending on the season. We have two grown children. Although I've been teaching online for over 15 years and many students have taken online courses with Lake Region, we recently switched over to the Blackboard Learning Management System, and I know it may be unfamiliar and intimidating for those entering for the first time. Plus, even if you've taken online courses before, every instructor does things a little differently, and every new course requires a little getting used to. So let's take a look at how the course is set up. This course is arranged in units. The due dates are always Tuesdays, but some units may be given more than 1 week, so be sure to check your task list, syllabus, or online course calendar for due dates. The dates on all three should match, but the task list gives you the most complete information. Here's the units over here. You can find the task list and syllabus in the Course Information tab. Here's the syllabus and the task list with all the due dates. You can find the course calendar in its own tab. And with the course calendar, this will show all of your courses' due dates. You can toggle those on and off over here if you don't want them all showing. My calendar is a little busier than yours because my calendar has all three discussion groups here, and yours will only show one. Each unit, so we'll go into a unit here, contains content specific to that unit. I'm making this video in the shell for Biology 220, Anatomy and Physiology 1. So what you see on your screen will differ if you're in a different course, but the same general navigation will apply. Within each unit are the links to content you'll need to complete. Learning objectives will be listed. Here's your learning objectives. There will be notes and or files of content to download. The files contain reading assignments and concept questions, so be sure to read them. Be sure to also download and complete each vocabulary crossword. You'll be glad you did at quiz time. And these vocabulary crosswords are in anatomy, they're not in pharmacology though. And then here's your assignment to read and questions to answer. For the A&P courses, there are links to guided notes here. These are narrated, interactive notes and self-quiz questions to help you learn the content. The activities were developed in a program called Articulate Storyline. They're not PowerPoint, so there's not a printout available. It's not PowerPoint slides. They're overlapping and animated, and so they don't make a nice printout. You'll have to take your own notes for study purposes. Be sure to take notes. Don't write down everything word for word or screenshot it. Research has shown that handwriting notes is far superior to writing them on a computer or reading them off of a screen. Just transcribing off of a screen does not help you understand. You need to integrate the information. Each unit will also have at least one discussion post. So let's get back into the unit here. Normally, the discussion post will contain a reading assignment. Here's the reading assignment and a list of questions to choose from to answer. You may be required to answer either one or two questions and reply to either one or two classmates. The discussions are set into groups. You won't see all three groups, you'll just see the one you're in. And when you go into the group and go into the group discussion board, and your view may be a little different because this is the instructor view, but you'll see all of the discussions for the semester. As we pass the due date, these will disappear. When you go into the discussion, it will show you the directions and the list of questions to choose from. Be sure to read the directions. This one says to answer one of the questions. Each student must choose a different question. And then it tells you to make two additional comments to the posts of other students. So be sure to read through those directions. Only one student is allowed to answer each question for points, so be sure to read what everyone else has posted before you choose your question. Also, please be courteous and include your question number in your post title, and don't change it after you choose. That messes everybody up down the line if you do that. Be sure to read the directions to earn all the available points. Discussion posts are due no later than Tuesday listed in the task list at 11:59 p.m. Central Time. If you're in California, you're in Hawaii, you must plan to get that in by Central Time. The system will disappear, the discussion will disappear at 11:59 p.m. and it's actually 11:59:00, not 11:59:59. So keep that in mind too. It will disappear when that due date's reached. I don't accept discussion post late for any reason. That includes illness, kids' illness, anything like that. You're expected to work ahead on discussion points, knowing that I will not take them late. Do not wait till the last minute to do that. Be sure to work on them early to avoid losing the points if something unexpected comes up at the last minute. The reason I'm such a stickler on that is because a discussion is to discuss. And once the due date has reached, everybody has moved on. So there's no point in you discussing something when nobody else is left in there. And there's no point of you emailing me it because that's not a discussion. So keep that in mind. To encourage you to participate early, I do give bonus for points submitted no later than the Friday prior to the due date at 11:59 p.m. And the bonus is listed here. Keep in mind all due dates are in Central Time and bonus points are only awarded for posts submitted by the deadline, not started by it. In lab classes, so if we go back to the unit, so let's go to this unit here. In lab classes, there will be a folder for lab assignments. These will vary from activities to kitchen chemistry using substances commonly on hand to building models to Physio-EX lab simulations. The process for completing Physio-EX in this unit has a Physio-EX lab in it. Click there. Will be covered in a separate video. Here's the video link here for Physio-EX, and the first one's not until the cells unit. Be sure to watch that video before you attempt any Physio-EX labs, especially if you've done them at another school, because mine are different. I write my own questions and do my own requirements. And so if you submit the things that the program tells you to submit, you're not going to earn any points and you'll have to redo it. So take the time and watch the video to make sure you know what you're doing. To access the lab directions, we've clicked on the folder. You can see the lab directions. And then to submit it, you'll see when you scroll down, there's nowhere to submit it. What you have to do to submit is you have to click on the name again. When you click on the name again, it will tell you the due date, how many points it's worth, and then when you scroll down, you'll find a place to browse your computer for your attachments, your screenshot, and your question answers. Your question answers must be in Word. Do not type them here. Do not type them here or I'll send them back and say they must be in Word. That's because there's some metadata in Word I need. And also if you just type them in and copy and paste them in this comment part, I can't make any comments in line. And so it's too hard for me to say in the second sentence of question number 3. That's confusing for both of us. So they must be in Word. If they're not, I'll send it back to you to redo. So keep that in mind, and that is also explained in the directions and it's explained on the video. So you've been forewarned. Once your assignment has been submitted, you'll be able to see it was submitted in your gradebook. I can't show you that part because if I pull up the gradebook, you're going to see everybody's name. The gradebook will show all work completed and any comments I've made. If I deduct points on a discussion or lab, I always leave a comment, so be sure to read them to avoid making the same mistake repeatedly. Like discussions, labs are also due on Tuesday nights at 11:59 p.m. You can see those in the course calendar and on your task list, what those dates are. And here you can see that lab. The one I had up was Physio-EX, and that's right there. Late lab submissions. Labs don't disappear like discussions do because labs don't require that you interact with anybody. I'm so, like I said, a stickler on discussions because you have to interact. Labs you don't. If they're late, if you're at the doctor, there's an illness, you only lose 10% a day. Unless if you have written documentation, a doctor's note, something like that, then that'll be waived. I described that late policy in the syllabus, and you'll need to submit that when you turn in the lab to get that waived. Discussions, no, you've got to get those done on time. So always make sure you work ahead on your discussions. It gets you bonus points and it reduces the risk that you're going to lose points if something comes up at the last minute. Each unit will also have at least one quiz. Quizzes are not shown on your calendar because quizzes do have a due date. They're listed on the task list. However, they don't have a late penalty. And if I put a due date on the calendar for quizzes and exams, then it forces me to override every single late one. So they're not listed on the calendar, but they are listed on the task list. So be sure you follow that. Quizzes are averaged. That means every attempt counts. And as stated in the syllabus, I do not clear attempts. So be sure you're ready to take the quiz before you start. Please be aware that if you navigate away from the browser window during a quiz or exam, even accidentally, the quiz or exam will auto-submit and you'll receive a low grade. The system has no way of knowing whether somebody bumped your arm and you left the browser window or you were trying to look up an answer in another browser window. The system doesn't know that. So it defaults on the side of kicking you out. So even if it was accidental, it will still kick you out. I do not reset those because I would be resetting them every day for things. And that's just not fair to everybody, because it's not fair for me to have to decide if that was a legitimate reason. So, and everybody has a different idea of what a tech problem was. So what I do, is at the end during finals week, I will reset up to 3. Or not reset, clear, because you can take them as many times as you want. So if you do get kicked out, just keep taking it and raise your average. It really doesn't make any difference in the end if you have one bad quiz score, if you average them out. But then at the end during finals week, I will reset up to 3. But I can't do them as we go, because then I would have to track it and make sure, and it's just not fair to everybody. I have over 100 students and I have to be fair to every single one of you. So keep that in mind. I will take care of it at the end. I don't take care of it during the term though, because it can become too hard for both of us to determine what becomes excessive. So keep that in mind. Just keep retaking them if they need to be averaged. Exams are one time only. Quizzes can be repeated, but exams are one time only. So be sure you're mindful of your environment and your mouse position when you take an exam. Exams are set, everything's timed, everything's randomized. I don't require proctors. So if it seems like I'm being really mean about these quizzes and not resetting them, remember there's a trade-off. I'm not requiring you to go get proctors, so I have to have some controls in place. It's not that I don't trust you, but I've been doing this for a long time, and you know that one person can make a policy necessary. And it may be one person many years ago, but don't take it personally if I tell you no, because there's a reason, and I will take care of it eventually. We'll get there, but you've got to trust the process here. As you work in the course, please be sure to ask me any questions as they arise. My phone number's in the syllabus, but keep in mind if you have a question about a grade or assignment, I'm going to tell you to email for archive reasons. I have to have a written record of any grade change or any question about an illness, due date, anything like that. I have to have a written record. So it's always a good idea to start with email in the first place. Like most people, I typically answer emails much faster than I answer voicemails. If you call me and say, can you call me? You need to tell me who you are, what class you're in, and expect it's going to take a while. Whereas if you have an email that I can read through and see if I can answer real quickly, it's going to be a faster response. So I don't want to discourage you from calling, but please start with email just because it's faster for both of us. If you have a question that requires a yes or no answer, you can text, but anything longer than a few words, I'm probably going to reply with a request for you to email. Again, welcome to the course. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, especially if you have any questions about due dates or processes or anything as you get started. I certainly don't want you to be frustrated. Welcome again to the course.